Good. Hello, hello. Nice to see you guys.
Well, to start off with, what are kind of your biggest goals this offseason? What would you like to accomplish, kind of knowing that there's a lot of unknown ahead between CBA expansion and all that? Like, do you have like a set philosophy that you want to accomplish regardless?
Yeah, start with the hard question right away. I guess what I can say very vulnerably and like real is I still haven't had the opportunity to really like assess what just happened. So 500 plus days ago, I was hired, and there was a lot of unknown, and our canvas has a little bit more color now, and we know more about ourselves than we did, you know, the first day I got hired. And so I still haven't had the opportunity to debrief with Mr. Joe. And I think we have a lot of learnings that we can focus into like specific goals. So I'm still in this season and trying to make sure that I don't blow over kind of like anything that we've accomplished, but then also not sit in the successes that we have, because we have goals ahead of time.
Ohemaa, just going off that, I guess, can you reflect a little bit more on this season? I think a lot of people were surprised by some of the choices that you guys made when it came to who you drafted and the players that you picked, but you see how successful it was. So can you just talk about that strategy and how maybe you didn't let that noise in, and then how successful it's been?
Yeah, I haven't allowed myself to reflect, to be quite honest. I think having the opportunity to talk to the athletes right after the end of the season, still needing to talk to the rest of my staff, and then again, like Mr. Joe, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I will be able to like breathe and really reflect. What I would say about the noise is we had an internal kind of voice, and we didn't allow for any of the external noise to permeate what it was that we were building. We said publicly on multiple occasions how confident and how competitive that we wanted to be, and we also wanted to do it in a way where we put humans first. And so I think for the noise, they needed to see it in order to believe it, but we believed it from day one. And what was fascinating for me more specifically was the players more specifically saying yes, and then also buying into all the things that we're talking about internally. I think a lot of people wanted to know what the secret sauce was and how we did it, and why did people buy in so quickly. Clearly would never share that, and I'm very grateful. That's like the biggest reflection is like to have so many people come from all different walks of life, all different experiences in the pro game, to say yes to this and say yes in the biggest way, to stretch themselves, to sacrifice a lot of the things they thought potentially could happen, and then say yes to what it was that we wanted to do collectively, and they did it in the best way possible.
Hey, Ohemaa. Natalie talked throughout the season about, speaking of Joe, just that 5-year championship window and how much she felt that over the course of just even the first season. How do you, did you guys as a front office feel that this year, and how do you kind of balance those expectations going forward?
Yeah, we felt it, but we felt it in a way that kind of continued to have us have focus, right? No season should be wasted. And so everybody who put in their hard work into this season, knowing that that is a goal that we'd like to accomplish, they just did it. If that makes sense. Like nobody wanted to waste a day or waste a practice or waste a game. Like a lot of our athletes were harder on themselves than the coaching staff were on them, and they, I think, wanted to achieve greatness, every time they walked in to here, this practice facility, on the road more specifically, and of course in Valhalla at Chase Center. So I think it only helped us create like a collective like rallying cry to do something different.
Going back to being human first with when you interact with players, obviously there were like some tough decisions that had to be made here and there throughout the season. How did you kind of balance like the human side with the business and all of that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to focus on. I knew that I would have to make a lot of tough decisions. I didn't know how many tough decisions I was going to have to make, and really wanted to be thoughtful about how I set the scene as to what these athletes would be doing if they were going to be here for a long term or they're only going to be here for a 7-day, right? And being really open and honest and saying, I don't have the answers to the question, and please continue to ask the question because I want to make sure that you don't think that we're taking your talents for granted. In my first interview with Mr. Joe, asked him a question about so how do you build this legacy at Golden State? And his response to me was, I hired good people. And that gave me the permission to take on this role more specifically, but also gave me the, calm to know that he would trust the human aspects of being a professional athlete, being a professional staff member within this league and within this organization, and that all of the decisions that were made were my decisions, but were decisions that he helped guided across the entire season. So I would say, to answer your question more specifically, it was really hard because each of the athletes that came in, whether they ended the season with us or started the season with us, they're people. They have, communities that they are a part of, and they have families and they have friends. And I knew the weight of a decision one way or the other, and I wanted to make sure that internally it wouldn't shake the core of who we were. And hearing the feedback from the athletes, we brought in really great athletes, more specifically, that understood their role on the team, both on and off the court.
How important was it to establish a winning culture this year and make the Valkyries be a destination, especially with what's coming up with free agency?
Yeah, I think it was important to establish a culture, and then what that then became has everything to do with the people on the inside that created it. And what we said was competitive, and what it became was winning, right? We wanted to make sure that whatever goals that we had didn't put anybody in a box or tried to kind of create a story that they would then have to fill out. Everybody had their own unique fingerprint on this experience and this journey. And I think that now we have a little bit more of an understanding as to what Valkyries basketball is. I think led by Coach Natalie and her coaching staff, my performance team, Lorena Torres, and then the ops, and everybody genuinely helped make what Valkyries basketball is, and what everybody has consumed to be what it was.
Hi, Ohemaa over here. I know you said you're kind of still reflecting on this season and in the mode of assessing this season, but upcoming, over 2/3 of the league will be on the market in free agencies. So I just wanted to ask, for you, do you feel like adding an immediate impact player through free agency is something that you would make part of your plan going forward, or are you more focused on returning this roster and building that way?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's one of the questions that's at the top of my list to try to evaluate and come to an agreement. I think what I can say is we want great humans. So depending on what your skill sets are on the court, how the athletes felt after the end of the season, that's something that you can't recreate. And so it's really making sure that we put the the athletic ability of a person and who they are and what they would mean to this community. The fan base has completely absorbed each of the athletes so much that I don't want to mess with that, and yes, we need to continue to win basketball games. So like the balance of that, what does that look like? Who does that look like? Still hasn't been determined.
Just kind of building on that, when you look at the success that you guys had this year as a defensive team, as a team that would let it fly, is when you go into the offseason and evaluate like who you might want to bring in and make those decisions, is that still the core of what you want to be?
Yeah, I need to talk to Coach Natalie more about it, just to see. I would say what her and her staff did was, I don't think that every athlete that came through the door had that mentality, but they were able to have a player development model that then was able to have them be a part of our team, if that makes sense, from a tactical standpoint. So I think what I enjoyed watching, because I was at every practice and every meeting and kind of all the things, was just seeing how the players were trusted in the process and then worked towards something that they most likely wasn't part of their game and added to their game so that they were more complete players after they left here. And I think that speaks to not necessarily going to get somebody who currently does what we did this past season and plugging them in, but really being thoughtful about the ecosystem that we've created to see if they can be better or if what they already bring is enough for us to move forward.
I'm curious. I know you said earlier that you would never share kind of the secret sauce strategy, which of course is understandable. But I think one big storyline this season, especially for the Valkyries, was international players, bringing in international players. We haven't seen that as much on other teams. And I'm just curious if you're worried now that maybe some of the players overseas that you were looking at maybe bringing in years to come, that they might become more attractive to other teams, seeing the success that you guys had now, and kind of how you feel about that mark that you've made on the league in looking elsewhere outside the U.S.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm worried. I think that the globalization of the sport is important, right? In general, I think more specifically, we did what was needed to be done in year one based off of what was given to us, right? And the athletes that we got from the international arena were the exact athletes that we needed in year one. And so I don't think that what we created internally can be replicated, if that makes sense. And so what I would say is I would be overjoyed to have more athletes from the international landscape come into the WNBA, because they do have things that they can bring to this game to just make it more full, more exciting, et cetera. And we should just all be really thoughtful about just like the narrative of the internationals versus the domestic athletes, and really just look at the type of human and the type of athlete that each team will bring in moving forward.
Hi, Ohemaa. Natalie shared how a couple of players thanked her for saving their career or making their career start getting it going. How do you sort of look at how she grew into her role every day and doing it her way? She said, swearing and fiery, and but also this taking family shots and some of her unique ways of doing it.
Yeah, I could say it was a love type of experience to watch somebody who you've admired from afar be a part of your team more specifically, and then watching them kind of evolve into the person that you knew that they were going to be, and more. I would say to be a head coach is really hard. and to be a head coach in the WNBA is even harder. And all of the different iterations of the roster that I threw at her, she managed with grace. And because she was her authentic self from day one, the athletes were able to trust in the process and be willing to listen to all the things that she had to say. She also had moments of vulnerability behind closed doors with them that I think also endeared them to her being a human. And she was always the first one to say when she didn't do right by them in whatever category, she would be the first person to like own up to it, which then let the athletes know that they can be held accountable by her, but they can also hold themselves accountable. I think that she was fantastic. What I can also say is like it was really hard. So with all of the success that she has had in year one, and for her to be coach of the year in year one, for me, I'm kind of like, duh, told y'all. But also, she put in the work. Like, she is one of the hardest working humans I've ever worked with in my career, and that's saying a lot with the places that I've been. And so she earned it, and she earned it in a way that gave everybody else and empowered everybody else to want to be better. And that, I think, is really tough when you're a leader.
Kind of going back to the international players that you've brought in, one addition you are expected to make is your first round draft pick, You Stay. What do you expect from her impact? Obviously, it'll be her first season in the WNBA, a lot of physicality differences between the leagues. What kind of impact do you expect from her?
Yeah, it remains to be seen, right? Like, she's currently playing right now. So first and foremost, a healthy off season for her, and for her to be able to come in and assess our team, right? Like, our team is probably going to look a little bit more different than what it is right now. And so not putting any pressure on her to do anything other than what her game is right now, and then be able to evolve with the season. And what does that look like? If you look at every athlete that we had, what the first day that they got into training camp or the first time they got minutes to what they were at the end of the season, everybody evolved. So again, like, not trying to put anybody in a box, and just allow for the creativity that Natalie has within her system to kind of blend with whatever athlete that we bring in moving forward.
Hello, could you talk about what Vanya has meant to the organization and what you'll be looking for in terms of replacing her?
Yeah, there are not a lot of words that I can say about Vanya. We'd be here all day. I would say, like, her impact in year one was felt. And I would love to also say that, like, I'm really proud that she's taken a step to go lead another franchise. Short of sounding like a broken record, like, still need to evaluate her role and what does that mean for our team moving forward with us more specifically. And I know I have to make some changes, and I guess once I allow myself to reflect, like, I will definitely make those hires accordingly. I think what I'd love to be, like, very thoughtful about is, like, the people that helped get us to where we were this year all need to take a beat. The last person was hired a week before training camp and have been going ever since. And so just allowing people to reflect when they can, and then being able to come up with a plan for next season shortly thereafter.
Before the draft, you were way back a long time ago now, you said that you weren't really worried about a face of the franchise yet and someone would emerge. And obviously this year, like KT emerged, Veronica emerged. But how do you just kind of feel about that concept heading into the offseason where I think Jane mentioned like 2/3 of the league are a free agent? Like, do you think about something like a face of the franchise going into year two?
Yeah, I don't think about the face of a franchise because I think what Valkyries basketball has meant is that on any given night, with any given roster, we can win basketball games, and the humility and the drive to win wasn't held in any one person, which I think is a testament to the type of culture that Coach Natalie and the rest of the staff built. So it's, again, like Valkyries basketball isn't just in one human. And I think that's the type of philosophy that we're going to go with moving forward, because injuries are inevitable, right? Like the season being what it was, you have to always be ready for the unknown. And so if you kind of put all your eggs in one basket, hoping that that person is going to be available for the entire season, we have now an experience to say you may not. And so how are you going to pivot? And the problem solving and keeping the human first, I think, and team first mentality is exactly what we would like to continue to do. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, friend.
Thanks for everything all season.